I think it's time to rebel. Let's do this. Okay, so disclaimer is I have two messages in this video, and they're gonna seem to contradict each other, but I promise if you think about it, they're not going to contradict each other. It basically is summed up within in the world, but not of the world. Normally, when we think of a totalitarian government, we think of a government with rulers and buildings and laws and structures and all that kind of stuff. So I guess what I'm talking about in this video is not government in the strictest sense of the word, but it definitely rules our lives nonetheless. It sure as heck influences our lives, and if we allow it, it controls our lives. It restricts us from being Christian to be human. This government is called our culture. It controls mostly by peer pressure. I mean, who doesn't want to fit in? I want to fit in all the time. I struggle with it a lot, trying to be true to myself and not want to fit in with all the other girls. But that's not what we're called to do. As Christians and as Catholics, we cannot fit in with the culture. That's not what we're called to do. Holiness means set apart. It means being different. To be holy, we're gonna have to be different from the rest of the world. Sorry to break it to you. I don't know if any of y'all have heard about a TV show called Star Wars Rebels. Favorite TV show ever. The only TV show I've ever watched. But it's basically what it sounds like. Rebellion. It's rebelling against the Empire. It's those who believe in the good and the light side rebelling against the bad Empire, the evil Empire, the dark side. As Christians, or even as humans, we need to rebel against the evil in our culture that is all around us now. And I say just humans, even if you're not Christian, because a lot of the things that are in our culture right now, nowadays, abortion, euthanasia, same-sex unions, the gay and homosexuality and all that kind of stuff, that's hitting at the root of our human dignity, regardless of our race or religion. We need to start a rebellion against low expectation, hatred, and the liberal agenda. I know that covers a wide span of politics, and I'm not going to get into all that, and I know I sound like I'm hating people and being a hypocrite, but I promise I'm not trying to do that. If you try to speak the truth in this country, you're going to get persecuted. Even today, my city was blessed. I live in a small city, but my city was blessed with having TFP, Tradition Family Property, a Tradition Family Property group come and stand and do a pro-life campaign. And it happened here, and it happens where they do it all over the place. They do it all over the place. Watch the card links and you can see some of them. But they get hated, they get spit at, people just yell at them and cuss them. The culture we live in wants to suppress the truth. How have we strayed so far from our Christian roots? It hasn't even been 250 years since the founding of America. And look, we were founded on Christian values, and now look where we are. It's a mess. We're a mess in this country. We need to change this. It's up to us to rebel against this culture and to live the truth with courage. I'm going to read to you from something called A Philadelphia Catholic in King James Court. It's by Martin DeForest Kennedy. Really good book for, it's apologetics novel. It's good for, anybody from middle school, up. Okay, so this is, I have to take this out of the context of the whole book because I can't read everything because that would take forever. But anyway, let's get started. Now, just before the fig tree, what happens? Jesus comes into Jerusalem riding an ass, and the crowds love him, laying cloaks and branches on the ground before his humble little animal. And what was Jerusalem? The center of the world if you were Jewish. The site of the foundation rock upon which the temple stood. The learned, the influential, and the powerful controlled Jerusalem and were responsible for the temple. Jerusalem was New York City, Chicago, and LA all rolled into one. So we have the entire temple establishment on one hand and this rabble-rousing young upstart who is exciting the crowds on the other. Now the establishment knew of this Jesus character who had likely been in the Jerusalem before during his ministry, but this time was going to be a showdown, so to speak. And what does Christ do when he gets to the temple? Does he lay low to show the powers that he isn't contesting their turf? Does he extend the hand of peace to them who are plotting to destroy him? Does he gently encourage the elite to take up their crosses and follow him? Not on your life. He went to the temple and cleaned the house, throwing out the money changers, all those buying and selling. He came to the great city of those few days of his life to point out the proverbial finger at the Pharisees, Sadducees, and the scribes, the entire establishment, in bitter rebuke. Michael was soaking it all in. It had never been presented to him in such a way to make it simple, interesting, and exciting. He was beginning to see a Jesus he never knew, a radical, anti-establishment type. This radical, though, extended his hand to the blind and lame right after cleaning out the temple. He didn't seek to consolidate power by forming an alliance with those who could have helped him in a temporal sense. Okay, that's the end of what I'm going to be able to read to you. Get the book and finish reading it. But in all seriousness, we are called to be like Jesus. We need to be rebels too. We need to live the gospel with our whole mind, heart, and soul. Rebels reject the government and are different because of it. We need to reject the government of the culture. We need to reject what the culture says we need to do to be good and says we need to do perfect and all that jazz, and be what Christ tells us to be. Okay, so after completely denouncing the world, I'm going to take an abrupt turn. Ready for this? You need to embrace what's good in the world, because there is good. But at the same time, you need to correct what there it needs to be corrected, and do that with love and kindness. Because nobody is going to change their life because somebody comes up to them and says, "You need to change your life because you're being a horrible person." They're going to think you're a jerk and ignore you, and it's not going to help at all. They might even get a really bad impression of Catholics and not listen to the next one, even if they try to do it with kindness. It takes time and it takes relationships. Rome wasn't built in a day. This morning, I was talking with my aunt and one of my teachers after Mass, and we were talking about like yoga or something, and my teacher said, exorcisms take time, and I mean, okay, there's a legit exorcism where people are actually being possessed. There's that, and then we can take it as an example of conversion takes time. It takes time, it takes patience, and it takes a lot of hard work. I'm going to read this quote, and it sums up what I'm trying to say beautifully. There's some discrepancy whether it's Jean Paul II said it or Francis, but I don't think it matters because it's an awesome quote. We need saints without castics, without veils. We need saints with jeans and tennis shoes. We need saints that go to the movies, that listen to music, that hang out with their friends. We need saints that place God in first place ahead of succeeding in any career. We need saints that look for time to pray every day and know how to be in love with purity, chastity, and all good things. We need saints for the 21st century with a spirituality appropriate for our time. We need saints that have commitment to helping the poor and making the needed social change. We need saints to live in the world, to sanctify the world, and not be afraid of living in the world by their presence in it. We need saints that drink Coca-Cola, that eat hot dogs, that surf the internet and listen to their iPods. We need saints that love the Eucharist, that are not afraid or embarrassed to eat a pizza or drink a beer with their friends. We need saints who love the movies, dance, sports, theater. We need saints that are open, sociable, normal, happy companions. We need saints who are in this world and know how to enjoy the best in this world without being callous or mundane. We need saints. And that pretty much just about sums up everything that I mean to say, because being a saint means being a rebel to the culture. If you look at any of the saints that are all different, then they're all different than everybody else around them. Unless, of course, there are other saints with them. Anyway, yeah. But in all seriousness, Satan wants to take over the world, and he wants every single person on this earth to go to hell, and God wants the exact opposite. He wants every single person on this earth to go to heaven, and we need to help God reach his goal. Because with free will, we can choose whatever we want. And we need to choose the good, the beautiful, and the true. I hope you liked that video, and I hope it makes you want to become a saint and defeat Satan with God's grace. If you have any questions, comment below. If you have any suggestions for future videos, comment below, because I'm always open to them. And check out videos, and pay attention to the cards that pop out, because they're also very, very important. But yeah, see you next time. Get holy and have fun doing it. Brother Mike does such a better job.